What's up? What's up? All right, YouTube. We are back. And tonight, yeah, handful.
What we got going on?
All right, so we're gonna listen to Candace Owens, a message to pro-choicers. Do your research on the history of abortion.
Yes.
Now, I got pregnant at 16, my first child.
Yep.
I can honestly say that I did think about abortion.
You did?
But I just knew that was something that I was not going to do. I had probably a thought of it.
So why you thought of abortion?
I think it was just an easy way out.
Okay,
because I felt like, oh man, if I have this child,
you have to be responsible for
yeah,
that, right?
I have to be responsible. I can't do what I wanted to do, later on in life. But then, as fast as I thought about abortion, is as quickly I forgot about abortion. My mind immediately went to, okay, keeping this baby. Now I'm going to have to make adjustments with my life path.
Did God play a part of that?
Yes.
Okay.
I truly believe it did, because like I said, it was like a thought that came, and then I didn't think about it anymore. I guess my thought changed because I felt that there was a different route for me to take, that I needed to take. I didn't feel like, oh, abortion is the only way. So get pregnant at 16, abortion. That's not it.
So pretty much you abort the abortion.
Right, I aborted the abortion
yeah.
because I knew that abortion was not my only way to have a better life for myself and my child. So once I, like I said, quick as I had the thought, as quick as the thought left me, because I'm like, look, dude, nope, it's another way. I didn't go to the military like something I wanted to do. I wanted to do the reserve. I didn't do that. I ended up going to college, meeting this awesome man right here, and getting married, having more kids, getting degrees, and growing a business. So God still had a plan for me. It wasn't the plan that I thought I wanted. I just went a different route. So I aborted the abortion, and the thought never came back into my mind. Now I got pregnant again by this young gentleman, and I called him.
You thought about doing it again?
And when I called you, I said, I can't have this baby. But I didn't think about abortion.
What you thought about then?
I just said I can't have a baby. I'm like, you idiot.
You gonna give me the baby? That's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I guess I said I didn't want to have this baby. I said I didn't want this baby, but abortion wasn't like a thought. It was like, look, dude, I have a baby, you get it.
Oh, okay.
You and who you with can have it. Because at the time I didn't know he was dating and married to somebody else. So I'm like, how you dating somebody and you married? So
that was my evil twin.
That was it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, the evil twin is no longer around. But yes, the thought.
I think that's what I aborted. I aborted my evil twin.
Yeah. Amen. So the thought did come, but I just knew that wasn't the only route that I had to take. That wasn't the plan I had for myself or for the child that I was carrying. Yes, I was 16 at the time, but at the same time, that baby didn't do anything to me. It didn't do anything to anybody else. That was just something that I had to deal with and figure out. But in the end, I was able to still go to college. There were programs around that paid for my daycare. Yep, paid for my daycare for 3 years or so while I finished high school. But I did have support. And that was the thing. I didn't really try to hide anything. So it's all about when you do find out you're pregnant, even at a young age, you still want to make sure that you go out and find resources that are in your community. I mean, they may look at you, or you may think, let me say this, you may think they're going to look at you weird because you are a young girl who's pregnant or in high school or something like that. That's what I thought too. But I got so much support. I didn't even care how people looked at me or whatever. Everybody was always smiling. I just did what they wanted me to do, and I kept the daycare the entire time I was in high school. and I was able to get a job after high school, go to college, still pay for daycare, thank God.
Okay.
So
pretty much anything is possible if you put your mind to it.
yes, anything is possible. I really agree. And my daughter is, oh God, she's actually 25.
Yes.
No, oh my God, she's not 25. She's 24. She's about to have her second baby. She did lose her first one, so we actually talked her out of getting an abortion.
Yes,
she had an appointment scheduled, and we were actually planning a family trip out of town, and she was actually heading to Orlando to get an abortion. The funny thing is, how I found out is she's on my health insurance. So I normally go on my health insurance to like see who has a claim, so I can like get my little money off of like a well check visit. And I saw her name on there, and I clicked on it. I was like, oh, she went to the doctor like last week or so. Maybe this is going to get me my $100. At the top, the diagnosis code said 13 weeks pregnant. So in the state of Florida, you could get an abortion up to 24 weeks.
24 weeks.
July 1st, it changes. July 1st, it changes. So when she found out, she was 15 weeks.
15 weeks, okay.
So when I found out she was pregnant, she was 13 weeks. She was going to get an abortion the next week, or no, in 2 weeks. She was going to get an abortion in 2 weeks. And I told my husband, I text her, and she's like, what are you talking about? Who told you? Nobody told me. I saw the claim. But anyway, so we convinced her. She cried and everything, and she was of course saying how she was going to be doing it by herself, and we assured her like, nope, you're doing it by yourself.
Part of convincing her is letting her know that, hey, we're here for you.
Yeah.
You know, we'll help you. We have no problem, you know, being there for you. Just have the baby. We'll take care of the baby.
We'll take care of the baby. Something. I mean, even though we're grandparents already, I was like, look, I was like, we will get the baby. We will get the baby. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I just say? What did I just say? Did me, almost about to be 40, about to be taking care of a newborn? But I didn't care. Because I had to make sure that, look, that she knew that we would be there to support her.
That's the thing. That would be something she regret later on down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first baby she lost, sadly, it passed. It was stillborn. So that impacted her. And of course, we could not have her going through an abortion with the baby. But she's having a girl in August. So we are so excited. It's going to take care of the baby. She's going to live here with us for a little bit until she gets her new place. But we had to just share. Well, I wanted to just share that with anybody who is thinking about that, because I did it at 16. I'll be 40 in November. So the choice that I did make, I don't regret it at all. I mean, kids drive me nuts. They drive me nuts. That's what they're gonna do. What can we do? But my grandkids drive me nuts too. But hey, what do? I'm gonna take care of them. I watch them every day. Monday through Friday. They get me up at 7 o'clock and they go home at 5.
Yeah, man, they tear the house.
They tear the house up. Tear it up. And guess what? I clean up after they leave and go home, and cookies is everywhere. Grandma goes down there,
man.
and I
downstairs
on the steps everywhere. But that's okay. Then grandma goes downstairs.
Man, we found a toothbrush and
olive oil. We have a toothbrush in the olive oil,
man.
but it's okay though.
God.
It is okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. They come Monday through Friday. 7 to 5. All right, but we're gonna get into Candace Owens' choice to a pro-choicers. I think I
do your research.
Do your research on
abortion.
Yes. Yeah. Do your research on the history of abortion. All right, let's get on in it.
Let's make it do what it do.
Hello, Facebook. Hello from what is supposed to be maternity leave. I'm supposed to not be doing social media and enjoying these last 2 weeks before I give birth to my daughter. I'm huge. I feel like I'm huge at least. Very exciting times. But obviously I wanted to come back and just do a video talking about this historic decision and talking about all of these protests that are going to follow, which are quite meaningless because the decision has already been made. But, you know, we live in a time where people think that throwing temper tantrums when they don't get what they want is appropriate. I want to make this video particularly to women that are pro-choice, and I hope that if you are pro-choice, you'll listen to this with an open heart, and if you're pro-life, that you will just simply share it in the hopes that somebody who is pro-choice does see it. I have always been very sympathetic and empathetic to women that are pro-choice because I used to be pro-choice for the majority of my life. I was pro-choice until I was 25 years old, almost, maybe a little before, a little after, before I got into politics and started really doing my own research and kind of getting out of what I would describe to be the cultural and the educational bubble, meaning that I went to public school my entire life. There is one side of this political argument that is presented at public schools, and it is pro-choice. I went off to college and took a feminism course, and there is one side that is presented when you go off to university, and it is pro-choice. The concept of my body, my choice, a phrase that I don't even know where it came from, was supplanted into my head before I even had a thought or an understanding of my own. I never learned about adoption in school. I actually grew up in a time when I learned that it was a clump of cells and it wasn't even a baby. Yep. And so when I went to college, you know, girls that I was very close with got abortions, and I know what these women went through, and I find the arguments that come from the pro-life side to be just sometimes not even arguments, and just very unsympathetic to the fact that women are actively learning that this is a choice. They're actively learning that this isn't a baby.
The only choice.
And when you say to those young women that you're a murderer, right? You're just a murderer. It's not helpful because you're not understanding that these women are brainwashed. I was brainwashed for years throughout school intentionally by an education system, by programs that were put into place by Planned Parenthood beginning in the 1970s to believe that it was just a clump of cells, and that having a lot of sexual activity was fine as a young female, and that, you know, abortion was no different than like a more drastic form of birth control. Not only that, but I learned that it was a responsible thing to do. So I've always tried to understand that mindset of a woman, because I know these women that went and got abortions, and I know that these are not terrible human beings that are murderers. What I say to pro-choicers, if you're still pro-choice, is I want you to be realistic about why you're pro-choice, and I want you to be sincere in your arguments of why you're pro-choice, right? It is foolish to say that this is about protecting women's rights. As I said, I have about 6 friends that have gotten abortions, and out of 6 of them, 5 of them were not doing it because it was their choice, but were doing it because they had pressure from boyfriends, because they had pressure from parents, or because they were scared. These are women in their most vulnerable states that they could possibly be in.
What did you say? No support system. That's why it's so important to support people.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, the thought that came in my mind as quick as it came, was as fast as it left my mind when I did get pregnant. And it was so crazy. What was so crazy is that I was pregnant at 16. My sister ahead of me was pregnant.
Well, y'all was getting down.
My oldest sister was pregnant. And my mom had 4 girls. My baby sister was pregnant.
The dog was pregnant too.
We didn't have a dog.
And a cat.
Whatever. Anyway, so what else? No.
Ate some chicken and like, the chicken pregnant.
So what I'm saying is,
we ain't no chicken out of baby.
Shut up. No, it wasn't. Anyway, so you got 4 teenage girls. So mind you, I'm 16, so that means my little sister is 15. She's pregnant, I'm pregnant. All 4 of us are pregnant. One day, we all got into like this heated argument. Like all of us was like, I don't know.
You got a baby first?
No.
Oh.
we all, like our hormones were crazy.
I know it was, man. I feel sorry for your dad, man.
So, we all got into an argument. I'm yelling. I've never really yelled and fighting my sisters or whatever. Like I had me and my older sister, but we all got along anyway. So, we all just fighting and yelling, fighting and yelling. My mama come in there. Just yelling at each other, like yelling, arguing. We weren't hitting each other. We don't do that. So, my mom busts in the room and she's like, "What is wrong with y'all? Somebody must be pregnant." And then,
so she didn't know y'all was pregnant?
Well, she didn't know none of us was pregnant.
Wow.
So my second sister,
She thought y'all was bloated.
my second sister told on my little sister.
Oh, say, hey, she pregnant.
My little sister told on my oldest sister.
You pregnant too?
And they all
Told on you?
told on me.
She pregnant.
My mama didn't say anything. She just left the room.
Was she pregnant too? Oh, I didn't mess
My
up.
mama was mad. She just left the room. She didn't talk to us. Her and my stepdad, they
went on vacation.
They left the house. They left us home. They were gone for like, I think, 2 days.
They got lost. They
didn't come home, y'all.
I'd have been driving so long, I'd be like, where we at? I'm just lost, man. I don't want to go back
I'm serious. They left, I think it was like 2 days.
2 days they was gone?
And we so crazy. We like, where's mama coming home? When we gonna eat? You know, all of us pregnant. So we like, where's my mama at? She ain't come home for 2 days and blah, blah, blah. She was mad. But one thing she said, we all having these babies. But sadly, my youngest sister, her grandma snuck and picked her up and took her to go get an abortion.
Wow.
And my mom was very upset.
See, that's what I'm saying about
was
that
not
support
something
system.
that
A lot of times,
we were supposed to do.
she probably was telling her, hey, look.
She was. She was telling her how it's going to ruin her life.
And
She was
that's
telling her how
people
it's
do
gonna-
say that. It's
yeah.
going to ruin your life. The thing is that you laid down and you had sex.
Yeah.
But
it was how she snuck and got her.
You did some grown people stuff.
Mhm.
You laid down, had sex, did some grown people stuff. You have a grown person reaction behind it. You know what I'm saying? That reaction is you got a baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. So at the end of the day, you have to suck it up, and you truly believe that you truly need that support system.
Yeah.
No matter what, you need it, man.
But
a lot of people don't have that.
But out of the four of us, my little sister was the only one that didn't have her baby, and it was hard on her for a long time. It was not hard on her for a
So
long
grandma
time.
snuck.
She told her that she was gonna take her shopping or
Okay.
something like that,
Yes.
and she took her to go get an abortion. My sister
Wow.
came back and she was just sick or something like that. She just didn't know how to tell us like that she got an abortion. I don't even remember how we found out she had an abortion.
Wow.
I think she told us like a few days later, but it was just like, wow, like we all four of us are not having.
I mean,
You know,
the thing is,
babies.
when I was young, man, the first thing that said if you have a baby, it's over for you, man. You're like, it's just done. You just, it's over. You be like, huh?
But it's not. It's not. And I mean, I guess for me, I hear what Candace is saying about, at school they teach pro-choice, and yes, I would listen to that. Like, yeah, it's my body. I can do what I want to do with it. But in the same time, in the same mind, it was just that, okay, we outside of school teaches you or taught us that, it's our body, our choice. But when you're home, hey, you having that baby. We don't kill, kids. That's what they, wrong.
Man, I just
don't
think
kill
that
kids.
I think it's hard when a person is in the hood. You ever heard that song with Tupac? Brenda's got a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda's barely got a brain, and during Shane, the girl can barely spell her name. The thing is that she was in a situation where she didn't have no food, no support system.
Mm-hmm.
Her moms didn't care. You know what I'm saying? She was in the hood, full of gangs, and it was like, I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? You got a 15-year-old girl trying to figure out. Go further in the song, it says that she had the baby in the bathroom floor. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that it's like she was there alone having that baby and put it in the garbage can. You know what I'm saying? So it's so sad when you have people that fall in that situation. It's like they don't have nobody to help out. And I think that if you know somebody, reach out to them.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here for you.
But I think it also goes back to like I said, the service people that are providing the services, how their actions are. Like I said, at one point it's like I would go to get like my daycare services, and I had a nasty they were called counselors. like, you a counselor, and how are you being nasty to me? Like, the tone of her voice, her body language. Well, ain't nobody tell you to get pregnant, and why did you get pregnant? Oh my God. And then I ended up getting pregnant again, and my counselor was, congratulations. All right, let's go on and get the baby in daycare. And then other people in the office would be like, oh my gosh, you got pregnant again. We got paid for service for you again for another year. It is not coming out of your pocket, lady. It is coming from the state. I'm in high school. Thank God I can go to school. I mean, I'm like, and I told my counselor what happened, and she was like, I'm going to talk to her about that.
I think that's taxpayer dollars, though, baby.
Whatever.
It'll come out of my check.
It's coming out of mine now.
It is taxpayer dollars.
But I told my counselor what the lady said. She said, she's pregnant again. The
thing is, she shouldn't say that. But I can pull you to the side and say, baby. If, you got condoms, you got birth control.
Yeah.
Depo. You got all these different things.
But you would have thought she would have said that. But I told my counselor what she said, and she, talked to the lady and everything, and never had any issues again. But sometimes those people who have the attitudes with you when you go to these places, look, tell somebody else. I still listen. You be disrespectful to me, I'm not gonna, reciprocate the same attitude that you gave me. I'm gonna stay smiling. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I guarantee that lady
you
didn't start out like that.
No.
I think that when you see so many people come in there, you get exhausted, and I think it's called work exhaustion, where you get so.
But it's her job. That's her job. That's her job.
She have gotten so.
You
exhausted.
went to college for that position.
Yeah, it's her job, but she have gotten so exhausted she's taking it personal.
Yeah.
And that's when somebody need to pull her to the side and say, "Hey, look, you still have a job to do.
Mm-hmm. So that's what my counselor
part of your job as a
her.
counselor is to counsel people and care."
But I also think too, she didn't think somebody would tell on her, and I let my counselor know, like, no, what she just said to me is, I'm using more money because I got pregnant again. And my counselor was like, no, but hey.
And I think she been saying that.
No, she had been saying that, but nobody had called her out on it, but I did.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I wanted to finish high school. All right, let's keep going.
They're not doing this because they think, oh, I just don't want to have a kid. They're doing this because pressure is coming from all around them. They have teachers that are telling them that their lives will be ruined if they have a child too soon and they don't have the economic standing to have a child. In many circumstances, they have boyfriends who never wanted the children and who are demanding that they get an abortion. I have been in situations where people in my family have had boyfriends that have broken into their homes demanding
What you doing?
that they get an abortion. Domestic violence follows a lot of these situations. You have seen circumstances in the news recently where a woman in Philadelphia was shot at her baby shower by her baby daddy because he didn't want to have the child. This is the more typical circumstances of women getting an abortion. It is something that is done out of fear. These women are terrified when they go to these clinics. These women are crying when they come out of these clinics. These women are not doing this as some form of freedom. So I wish that if you are going to be legitimate about the pro-choice movement, you would acknowledge that this is not something that is about reproductive freedom or helping women. My second hope is that you would acknowledge the true history of this in talking about how this benefits men in their ability to demand of women that they get an abortion, that they take this option. Many women who are scared and who are vulnerable, that you recognize that this decision was made by men, entirely made by men. The Supreme Court decision was passed by 7 white men. It is completely foolish for people to be a pro-choicer and to pretend that this is setting women's rights back when women were never able to speak on this issue in the first place. It was decided by men. The textbooks were then written by men, and orchestrated by men to convince them that this was the right thing to do. And women are still living under this delusion that somehow women's rights are being reversed when these were never rights that were decided by women, including the woman that was at the core of Roe v. Wade in the first place, who reversed her decision and ended her life saying that she was pro-life and felt that this decision was wrong. That was made on her behalf. So you can look into the history of that. One of the things that another thing that really bothers me about the pro-choice movement is this failure to recognize the history. And you see a lot right now across social media. People are saying this is a racist decision. I'm specifically calling out Amy Schumer, who alleged that this was what slave slaveholders would have wanted. First and foremost, I think people are really getting tired. I know I certainly have been tired for a long time, but I'm hopeful that after the Black Lives Matter riots, that Black America is waking up to this thing, that when white privileged women want something, they somehow make it, they say, well, if I don't get it, it's racist. That's a ridiculous circumstance. If you are going to put on your profile, please donate to Planned Parenthood. Because this decision has been overturned, then I expect you as a pro-choicer to recognize the true history of Planned Parenthood, to recognize that it was created by a eugenicist, that the entire concept of abortion was created during the progressive era. A woman, largely led by Margaret Sanger at the time that they were also performing appendectomies to Black people to make sure that they couldn't give birth. Who wanted to use abortion as a mechanism to get rid of undesirables. So if they thought that a certain class of people should not procreate, and you can go back and you could read Margaret Sanger's writings, they were considered unfit in society. Black people, they did not want them to procreate and have families, so they encouraged them to get abortions and told them that this was the right decision for them to make. It wasn't just Black people, by the way. During that time, it was largely people that were from Southern Europe. Italians were considered undesirables, as well as the east of Europe as well, that were coming into the country, and they were fearful that if these people began to mate and have children, that it would drive down the Nordic race. And there was a book at that time that was the most popular book, which was written by Madison Grant, and it was called The Passing of the Great Race. The entire abortion industry was created around the idea of eugenicism. Planned Parenthood is a racist organization, and they have been successful.
Never
you can't
knew
just
that.
say, oh, well, it changed going forward. She wrote down what her plans were, what her models were, why abortion needed to.
They do not want you to
I
hear
never knew
this.
that about Planned Parenthood.
Oh my god, Otto's actually legit. I don't know, I'm not
To be taking place, that you had people that weren't worthy of having children to be able to reproduce. You can't just magically pretend that didn't happen and say, oh, well, then I learned in school, but now it's my body, my choice. Acknowledge the true history, the true abhorrent history of what the abortion industry is, what it was intended to do, and what it has largely been successful in doing. I think Margaret Sanger is one of the most successful progressives that has ever lived, because she set out to do exactly what has been accomplished. Over 18 million Black babies have been aborted. The Black population would be double today had it not been for Planned Parenthood, had it not been for abortion. And the truth is that Planned Parenthood clinics are 70% of them are in minority neighborhoods. Now, you may find that fact checkers on the internet will say that that's not true, and that they looked at a study and saw, and this is what they will say, and this is how tricky they are because they want to obscure the truth, that the majority of places that perform abortion performing services are not primarily in minority neighborhoods. Specifically, I'm talking about Planned Parenthood clinics. When you say abortion performing services, you're talking about every single hospital, and they try to widen that map and pretend that, oh, well, no, see, look, hospitals are also here, and all these clinics are here. No, Planned Parenthood clinics, the majority of them are in majority minority neighborhoods, and that, again, is something that was intended. Again, I am not going to fault you if you hear all of these things and you say, well, I'm still pro-choice, it doesn't matter. But you have to be honest about your arguments. Be sincere in your arguments. Don't pretend this is about a woman's choice. This is about a woman being peer pressured. Don't pretend this is not a life. This is another thing of learning that it was a clump of cells. Pregnant now, and during my first pregnancy when I was 7 weeks, and I went in, and because they have this 5D technology where you can zoom in on the baby, I saw my baby's arms dancing and his legs dancing, and I broke down crying, just because of the elation, but also a quiet sadness in realizing that my entire life I had been lied to throughout the education system, that I was unintentionally raised up in an educational cult that wanted me to be the opposite of what a woman should be. I believe firmly that our role as women is to defend children, is to raise children, is to love children, to nurture children, to protect them from evil in this world. And when women are out on the front lines demanding a right to end the life of children that they perceive to be inconvenient, we have to accept that we have been brainwashed into a cult. That's it. And it is difficult for me to even speak this now, as I'm due to give birth in 2 weeks, because I think to feel this child kicking inside of me, to feel this little girl kicking inside of me, and then to hear women say that they believe that this isn't a life, that this isn't a life that should be valued, to already know that I know my daughter's personality like I knew my son's personality in the womb. I knew exactly who my son was. It's so spiritual. It is so above politics, this connection that women have with children. And it starts long before you're holding a child in your stomach. It starts when you're a kid and you are holding a baby doll and you're nurturing it. It starts when you watch little toddler girls taking care of their little brothers and being so careful.
That baby of mine.
It is above politics. It's who we are as spiritual beings. And so many of us have that spirituality systematically removed from us in the school system before we even get a chance to form our own thoughts. Again, I feel like I'm talking to you as a former member of that cult of pro-choiceness, and I do say this empathetically because I think it's sad when you look around and you see so many women that don't realize that fighting for life is all that matters.
When was the last time you did a proper cleanse of your intestines? Maybe you do them often. Maybe you've never done one. But when
we're talking about the life of a child and the chance to live, and to really understand that using extreme arguments to say, oh, but what if, if a woman is raped, then this should be, we should only be arguing according to women that are raped. Well, let me tell you something. Of the 6 friends that I know that had an abortion, nobody was raped. People were having unprotected sex, because what's the point of practicing safe sex when you're being systematically taught in the school system that doesn't matter? You can just go get an abortion. It's easy. It's become a form of birth control, and we need to acknowledge that honestly and openly, that the reason these abortions are happening is not because tons of women are getting raped. It's because tons of women are being irresponsible along with their partners, because tons of men don't want to raise up and be responsible, and they just say to a woman, go get an abortion. So many of these women are affected long after they get these abortions. I've received tons of letters from these women, and I want to welcome those women to the pro-life movement. Like, you can change your mind. You can have had an abortion, and you can be a spokesperson for the pro-life movement. You don't have to permanently be a person that pickets for these extreme organizations that demand a right to abort a child 9 months in the womb. And that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. In closing, what I think is going to happen now, obviously, is first and foremost, it will be sent down to the states. Women that want to get abortions will cross state lines. Women that are living in liberal states and governments, bodies in these liberal states like New York City are going to pass very extreme abortion laws, probably until the kid's 3 years old, and say it's your child, your choice. And then the opposite will happen in red states. They will ban abortions. And I think what will be interesting will be to look at the data. It will be interesting to look at red states that choose to ban abortion outright, and to see whether or not it curbs teen pregnancies, whether or not just knowing that it's not an option makes women pursue safer sex, makes women say, actually, okay, if the outcome of this is going to be a child, I need to be very serious about the partners that I have. We've become such a promiscuous society that people don't take their relations seriously at all, and they feel that it's up to the government to take care of that when they make poor decisions, take care of it.
I want to say something. I'm not gonna put it all on the schools, but because I believe that it starts at home, talking to your kids. Yes, the schools they play a big part by talking about Planned Parenthood.
Well, that's in high school, and then those classes you can opt out of. Like, for me, I told my mom,
at the end of the day, it still starts at home.
It still starts at home, yeah.
But
like she says too, you have birth control, you have condoms and those things like that.
And then let's be real about it. A lot of times, a woman would say, "Hey, put a condom on." The guy put a condom on. And in the middle of him having sex with her, he would take the condom off.
I can't. It's my son.
So
it happens.
So what do? That's where birth control comes in.
But that's where birth control comes in as well. But again, choose your partner wisely.
Really?
If he act like that now, guess what? He gonna act like that
till you get married to have sex.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
nobody wants to do that.
Cause
that's just not right.
That's gay if you
I want to try it before I buy it. They said they want to try it before you buy it.
Cause what is it? They'll just say the guys are gay if they wait until they married. But at the same time, listen, have your own mind about it. Ladies, whatever. Listen, okay, let people dictate your sexual orientation because you're not having sex, like a daggone dog running around town. Okay, let them call you that name. You know that's not you. You want to save yourself until you get married. Okay, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it, right? Nope. I mean, you're not having, let's say, unwanted kids that somebody can go abort.
And then look at it like this: you got a spouse that's helping.
Yeah, you have a spouse that's helping. Yeah, somebody that somebody who you're going to marry.
Yeah, plan it.
Plan it out.
A lot of times we're not planning it. We just go out there and we just have sex.
No, because but you
get a baby, then you get a baby. You're like, oh man, this is too much for me, man. I can't do this.
Yeah, they're too much. Yes, darn it, they are too much. But guess what? They're your too much.
Yep.
They're your too much. We always had to pay daycare until he was 4. I think I worked. I always say I worked to pay daycare. But guess what?
Pamper out, boy.
Pamper out. Teach him how to go to the pot. Let's keep going.
And it has contributed to the circumstance that we're in today. We are, honestly, America is out of control when it comes to abortion. We have abortion policies that mirror North Korea. Nowhere else in the world is like this. My husband is English. He looks at these women in America and thinks that are marching and demanding trying to kill Supreme Court justices and thinks that they're rabid. And he's correct. Something has gone amiss in America. It was time to pull this back, and it's time for us to have more honest and open conversations. So if you are pro-choice, I hope that you listen and just are willing to have an open conversation. If you are pro-life, I hope that you share this video, because there could be someone who's like me and doesn't, has never even considered any of these points and just needs to hear a different perspective that is a bit more empathetic than being called a murderer. So thank you guys for watching, share, and I'm gonna go have this baby.
But me and Cameron were talking today. He asked me about it, and and I told him, I said, what, I think I was pro-choice because yes, it's my body, and things like that. But then I also had to let him know, like, no, when I really think about it and learn myself, I've always been, I guess not always, but I'm pro-life at this point moving forward. Probably for God knows how long, because my kids are not getting pregnant. And you think about, okay, it's their body, their choice, but I don't want them to go kill no baby. And then they're putting, the baby's not a baby until it's 6 weeks. Oh, okay. Your point is? Your point is?
I guess that makes
it.
By them saying that, it make you feel, it's supposed to make them feel a whole lot better. Okay, if it's not a baby, then really I'm not.
Well, what is it?
But
because you call it an embryo, or you call it a fetus, because you don't call it a baby.
That's the illusion they give, baby. It's like it's not a baby, so you're not doing anything that's wrong. It's a child. Mm-hmm. It's a baby. It's simple as that.
Yeah. It still is. I look at it either way. As a baby.
But I'm not going to call nobody a murderer.
No, that's what we have to really stop calling people, because there's already a lot on your mind. And even if the thought come to your mind that you are a murderer, you need to get that thought out your head.
There was a lady, older lady, my mom used to hang around. She had like 5 abortions, and she said at nighttime she hear the babies crying. I'm like, man, that's creepy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, her conscience was beating her down so much, man, for what she done. But, back in the days, it's like, people couldn't afford abortion, so what they did was they go to somebody's house and they'll rig something up, and half of them will get sick. Some of the people will die. You know what I'm saying? So it was sad, man, especially living in the hood, man. It's like, I got to take care of another baby, another mouth to feed. But at the end of the day, if you sit back, you're having sex, then you make this decision to do grown folk business.
Grown folks business.
So you're going to have to take care of grown folks business when you have a child. It is what it is, man. Simple as that. Kiss method. Keep it simple, baby.
protection, or we can't do it.
We done went to 39 minutes, almost 40
Wow,
minutes,
we
man.
did, and I forgot the screen record the first part, so I got.
Are you for real?
I'm sorry, I love you too.
How? Wait,
I'll do it.
you forgot
It'll
the
be on
screen.
there.
Oh, God.
Peace.